What to do when your Mac won't turn on. Hello my dear friends, how are you? I hope you are well, in good health and in the happiest condition. Today I have a new video with you, which is, what do you do when your Mac does not turn on? I hope you like it, but before watching the video, subscribe to the channel to receive everything new. Now let us follow the explanation. Macs are very reliable, but they are just computers, and therefore they are not 100% immune to failures, which are sometimes expressed in the process of refusing to start. It can have many causes, so before you come up with any solution, you must understand the root of the problem and determine its cause. Fortunately, there are enough measures available to diagnose and treat any Mac-related problems. We've divided this guide into 10 steps that gradually lead to the goal, a working Mac with all the necessary data. The measures apply equally to a number of operating system versions, including the current macOS 11 Big Sur. One of the other menus can vary slightly from one version to another. This advisory refers to Macs with Intel processors and Macs with Apple Silicon. Step 1. Check if your Mac is turned on at all. It may seem corny at first, but the reason your Mac won't turn on may simply be because it won't turn on in the first place. If you press the power button, and you don't hear the startup chime, for Macs older than 2016, and no fan, or if there's no light on the screen or components, this is likely the case. If you don't hear the start chime, it may also mean that you muted your computer, plugged in headphones, or turned off your speakers when you last used it. You may not have activated the buzzer at all. There can be several symptoms of silence. In a specific situation, it is not easy to find the reason, and it is not necessary to hide it in the program or specifically in the startup routine. Apple has its own support document in case your Mac won't turn on and basically offers 4 tips. First, you should check the power source. Did someone unplug the Mac? Is it possible that the power strip is also on? If available, use a different cable, and unplug any peripherals like printers or USB hubs, of course not the screen on your Mac Mini or Mac Pro, and if new hardware has recently been installed, such as a new memory stick or hard drive, as was possible with older hardware, check whether these components are still installed correctly or, if necessary, remove them and recover the old components. If none of this helps, you should try resetting the SMC. We explain how to do this in Step 7. Step 2, no video signal, or just a distorted signal. If your Mac turns on but doesn't display an image, you probably have a screen problem. If something displays, but you can't sign into your Mac, go to Step 3. If you suspect problems with your Mac's screen, you can get help again from an Apple support document. In this case, Apple advises the following. Check the power supply of the monitor, external. Make sure all cables are connected correctly. Make sure the display is compatible with your Mac. Remove any extenders or switches between your Mac and your monitor. Disconnect the video cable between your Mac and the monitor, and connect it again. If you switch multiple monitors in a row, daisy-chained, disconnect them all and connect only one back in for now. If possible, try a different cable, or better yet, a different interface, such as DVI instead of VGA. If none of this helps, the document recommends deleting PREM or starting the system in safe mode. Step 3, run disk utility in recovery mode. So your Mac turns on and everything is fine with the screen, why isn't it turning on yet? There are still many reasons for this. In this step we would like to rule out that our problems are related to the hard drive or repair them if necessary. That's why we need disk utility, so that it can not only perform diagnostics, but also fix any problems it finds. We have to boot from an external disk, respectively its own partition, which is separated from the system partition. Since if we start from this section, we can then use the hard drive service software from there. Before restarting, we first need to make sure that your Mac is actually turned off. If the light is still glowing somewhere or the gray screen is still lit, We press the on/off button for 5 seconds to turn off the Mac again. Then we hold down the CMD and R keys on the keyboard and turn on the Mac again. If this boot process is successful, it leads to a screen that shows us some utilities for OS X. Click on Disk Utility. Then click on your hard drive icon in the menu on the left, then click on First Aid and Run or Scan. Apple did a simple fix for Disk Utility from version 10.11, and then just wait and let the tool fix a possible error. Step 4. Start the secure system. Secure OS tests the functionality of your Mac during startup and leaves system components and, above all, third-party extensions unprotected. In many cases, this method helps remove the limiting factor, such as a problematic extension. At the same time, a large number of cache files are also deleted, which also eliminates problems. After a safe start of the system, a completely normal booting process can be performed. You can run a safe start if you hold down the Shift or Shift key during the boot process. If this activates your Mac, this process may take some time as the system performs some verification procedures. If you want to see what your computer is doing, press not only the Shift key on startup, but also CMD and V, and then you enter the so-called verbose mode, which appears on the screen during startup. As a layman, you won't get any valuable information from it, but it looks pretty cool. When the secure system startup is successful, with or without verbose, simply restart your Mac as usual. If this solves the problem, congratulations. If not, please read on. Step 5, FSCK, check file system consistency. Unless it's your Mac you're trying to fix due to your sweating brow and mounting anxiety, Step 5 is no fun at all, and even more so than verbose boot. Because checking file system consistency seems really geeky. You should do this if your Mac has a system prior to macOS 10.14 Mojave, such as macOS 10.13 High Sierra. First, turn off your Mac and then turn it back on while holding down the CMD and S keys. The S stands for Single User Mode, which you can now start. You can release the handle when white text appears on a black screen. Now wait for the command line to appear and type FSCKSSF. However, in Single User Mode, the US keyboard layout is loaded, and the letters are now arranged differently. The following will appear on your screen. FSCF. By telling your Mac to run a file system consistency check, FSCK, the F command means you want it to do so despite what's called hard drive journaling. Note, on older Macs, the FSCKY command was entered. After the scan, your computer will either say the Mac's names folder appears to be fine or, unless you really want to read it, especially in the folder, the file system has been modified. In the first case, you can simply type reboot on the command line and press enter. When restarting, please do not hold down any key. In the second case, run the scan again, and you don't even need to type the command again. It is enough to press the up arrow key, and the command will appear again, and you just have to confirm it with the enter key. You will succeed either on the second, third or other attempt. Or not. With macOS 10.14 Mojave, Apple changed the procedure. Single user mode is still there, but it can now only be accessed via the rescue partition, which is a platform that is not visible in normal operation and can help solve many problems. See also Step 9 in Mac CMDR to start macOS recovery. In the Utilities window, you will find Disk Utility, which will help you find the volume you intend to repair. Click on it and choose File Activate from the menu. You can now start the terminal program and enter Unix commands into it, for example, those for file consistency checking. Step 6, Reset NVRAM. In the time of PowerPC, the first question experts asked when problems occurred was usually already reset the PRAM? Sometimes it worked, other times it didn't, and resetting the PRAM wasn't a silver bullet. This memory, which can cause problems, was correctly called NVRAM in the days of Intel Macs. And yes, it can be reset. The memory name refers to certain sections of main memory that contain certain parameters even when the device is turned off, such as the screen resolution or the specified volume level, which is why a properly functioning Mac does not hear the startup buzzer if you turn off the sound the last time. Apple Silicon Macs no longer have NVRAM and no SMC either, see next point. As always, resetting NVRAM isn't necessarily promising, but it doesn't hurt either. So it fits here. If you have learned to play the piano or any other instrument that requires special manual dexterity, you now have an advantage. Everyone else has to twist a little while running or ask for a third helping hand. Because when you start up your Mac, you have to hold down the CMD, Alt, P, and R keys at the same time. And of course, press the power button. Your Mac may then start normally and display a progress bar. But the boot process could be aborted before it was completely full, so resetting the NVRAM didn't help. But we still have a few arrows up our quiver. Step 7. Reset SMC. We've now reached the point where we have to reset the System Management Controller, SMC, of our Intel Mac if anything is to help at all, almost a last resort before rebuilding a complete Mac. This procedure is a little more complicated, and Apple has provided detailed instructions for it, for MacBooks and desktop computers. For the latter, it reads quite simply: unplug the power supply, wait 15 seconds, plug it back in, wait 5 seconds, turn it on again. However, with MacBooks, things get complicated because the trick is to simply not provide the computer with any power supply for a short period of time. Unplugging your MacBook's power supply doesn't help. This is the procedure for older MacBooks where you can still remove the battery. When the power supply is completely exhausted, press the power button for 5 seconds, then replace the battery and connect the power supply. Then hopefully the old device will turn on. However, with newer Macs, the battery can no longer be removed. Apple's procedure for clearing an SMC looks like this. Turn off your Mac. Connect the power supply, MagSafe or USB-C, to your Mac and a socket. Press the Shift, Control, and Alt keys on the internal keyboard, and then press the power button. Release all buttons, press the power button again. Step 8, place the target disk. It still doesn't work, at least it's time to restore the data before we have to set up the system again. In case you are a notorious backup denier, this step is the last straw to access your data. You didn't repair your Mac with it, but we'll deal with that later. Basically, target disk mode means that you can connect one defective Mac to another healthy Mac and mount the faulty computer's hard drive as external storage on the working computer. This means that, under certain circumstances, your data may be saved at the last minute. This is how it works. Connect the two computers using a Thunderbolt or FireWire cable. Turn off your defective Mac. Turn it back on while holding down the T key. Even after the startup sound, hold the handle and wait until nothing but the Thunderbolt or FireWire icon appears on the screen. On your Mac, or your colleague or friends, you'll now see an icon for your hard drive. Now drag the data you still need to another external storage medium. You can also clone the entire hard drive using Disk Utility, for example. Does your computer not boot into target disk mode anymore? Geez. Go to Step 10. Step 8.5, Establish diagnostics. Whether there are any hardware issues on your Mac that are also preventing it from starting can be determined through what is called diagnostic mode. Your Mac will then undergo a component scan and the best message you can get is no problems. Macs as of mid-2013 can be booted into diagnostic mode by pressing the D key, which typically takes about 5 minutes. With older Macs, until mid-2013, the procedure looks the same at first, but after selecting the language, the user still has to press the T key. Step 9, set up the system again. Okay then. There's not much left to do but set up the system again. To do this, look back at Step 3, Recovery Mode. After a successful start with this, You also have the option to reinstall the system, and the rescue partition is there for that. The process is actually self-explanatory. Instead of rescue partition, you can also reinstall the system from an external bootable medium. This is simple. Step 10, go to Genius Bar. We now have to learn Greek because we have reached the end of our Latin language. However, the metaphorical Greek is specifically the Genius Bar located at the nearest Apple store. You have to bring your Mac there now and make an appointment through Apple's website. The Genius will tell you what needs to be fixed and what is hopelessly lost, including quote. In the worst-case scenario, the Apple Store will take back your e-waste and sell you a new computer. But it doesn't have to come to this. Replacing the HDD/SSD or logic board is usually cheaper than buying a new one. Apple support page. At the end of the video, I thank you for watching and I hope you liked it, and see you in a good video.